Śrīmad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON Divinity Founder-Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Prasakaho Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivedanta Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Grandhara Śrīmad Bhāgavatam Ki Jai. All glories and absolutes, all glories and absolutes, all glories and absolutes, all glories Shri Guru Gauranga, all glories Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
We are reading from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 14, entitled King Pururava, enchanted by Urvashi. Verse number 49. This is the last verse of this chapter. Pururavasa evasita Trayi Treta Mukhe Nrupa Agnina Prajaya Raja Lokam Gandharvam Eivan Pururavasa Evasita Trayi Treta Mukhe Nrupa Agnina Prajaya Raja Lokam Gandharvam Eivan Pururavasa Evasita Trayi Treta Mukhe Nrupa Agnina Prajaya Raja Lokam Gandharvam Eivan. Agnina Prajaya Raja Lokam Gandharvam Eivan. Word to word translations, responsibly please. Pururavasaha, from King Pururava. Eva, thus. Asit, there was. Trayi, the Vedic principles of karma, jnana and upasana. Treta Mukhe, in the beginning of the Treta Yuga. Nrupa, O King Parikshit. Agnina, simply by generating the fire of sacrifice. Prajaya, by his son. Raja, King Pururava. Lokam, to the planet. Gandharvam, of the Gandharvas. Eivan, achieved. Oh Maharaj Parikshit, at the beginning of Treta Yuga, King Pururava inaugurated a Karmakanda sacrifice. Thus Pururava, who considered the yajnic fire his son, was able to go to Gandharva Loka as he desired. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In Satyuga, Lord Narayana was worshipped by meditation. Kriteyan dhyayato Vishnu. Indeed, everyone always meditated upon Lord Vishnu, Narayana, and achieved every success by this process of meditation. In the next yuga, Treta Yuga, the performance of yajna began. Tretaya yajato makhehi. Therefore, this verse says, Trayi Treta Mukhe. Ritualistic ceremonies were generally called fruitive activities. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that in Treta Yuga, beginning in the Swayambhuva Manvantara, ritualistic fruitive activities were similarly manifested from Priyavrata, etc. Thus, in the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 9th canto, 14th chapter of the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam entitled King Pururava, enchanted by Urvashi. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanyatam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Bhuter Mahatma Puro Vibhu Nirmaya Shedayatamusha Purusha Bhunte Gunan Shodasha Shodashatmaka Solan Krishishta Bhagavan Vajamsi Me. Hare Krishna. This is the very end of this chapter. Devotees have elaborately described the pastime of how Pururava was completely captivated, attached to, captivated by Urvashi and attached to her, spent a time with her, and finally there was this episode of separation. Then he was lamenting, and as the time progressed, there is a change in the activities to worship the Supreme Lord, as we can see here. So here it is mentioned that Pururava inaugurated yajna. The first yuga, naturally, Kritoya Dhyayate Vishnu. Everyone performs meditation. Tredaya Yajato Maghehi. Magha means sacrifice, ritualistic sacrifice. So, Magha was inaugurated in this particular Manvantara by Pururava. So, we had to see that in each Manu, there are different Divya Yugas, combination of Satya, Treta, Dwapara and Kali. And each Yuga cycle or each Divya Yuga, each process has to be inaugurated. So if you pick one Divya Yuga, the cycle of this, then in the beginning there has to be meditation, then Vedic sacrifices, then deity worship, and then Harinam Sankirtan. And each process has to be inaugurated by someone, naturally. And here we are in which Manvantara? No, it's Manvantara. Which Manvantara we are in Bhagavatam? Bhagavatam is interesting because we can see a progression of Manvantaras beginning from Swayambhuva Manvantara. If you pick third canto, we can clearly see the Swayambhuva Manu, his descendants, his daughters, sons, etc. We can see progressing. Manvantaras are progressing. So that is the first Manvantara after creation. Specifically this day of Brahma. So Bhagavatam, if you see Bhagavatam chronology, we can see that the very beginning, the first day of Brahma or even before is described partly in the first canto of Bhagavatam. Because there is a creation that is taking place. So that is even before Brahma's appearance. And then second canto we can see Brahma's appearance as well as Brahma performing his austerities. He is getting knowledge, instructions from the Lord in the second partly and in the third canto more elaborately. So we can see that this is the beginning of Brahma, and then Brahma's sons were born. One of them is Swayambhuva. So that's where the first Manvantara, where the Manu is Swayambhuva Manu. His name is Swayambhuva because Swayambhu is Brahma. Brahma is known as Swayambhu because he came without a father and mother as such. He just appeared on the lotus flower. If you think about it, it's just amazing, right? How can someone sit on the lotus flower? But there are big lotus flowers. Have you seen big lotus flowers? You can go different places. I don't know, I went to New Zealand. I went to around probably zoo and all those areas when I went out gardens. So big lotus flowers like this big lotus flowers. So I was thinking, oh yeah, it's possible. So even here we can see big lotus flowers, but here we are talking about huge lotus flower. So Brahma manifested there, so it's known as Swayambhu. And because this Manu is his son, he is known as Swayambhuva. So that is the first Manvantara. And the first Manvantara, as we know, the process is meditation. Now, which Manvantara is running? Now the Vaivasvata Manvantara is running because previously was Chakshusha. If you read the 7th canto of Bhagavatam, Prahlad Maharaj's pastime, Hiranyakashipu being killed by Narasimhadev, etc., took place in the 6th Manvantara, Chakshusha Manvantara. And here we are in the 7th Manvantara, Vaivasvata Manvantara, where Vaivasvata, from Vivaswan, so it's known as Vaivasvata Manvantara. He is the Vaivasvata Manu is ruling. So in this Manvantara, in this particular Yuga cycle, which current Yuga cycle, we are in a particular Yuga cycle. This we are talking about this particular Yuga cycle. That's what is running here, and that is very significant. The reason is soon we will progress to Krishna's appearance. So that is going to be in the same Manvantara, in the same Yuga cycle, because Krishna just appeared 5,000 years back. So here we can see that Pururava inaugurated the fire sacrifice. So this fire sacrifice is very potent. Traditionally, in kingdoms, kings are responsible to conduct huge fire sacrifices for the whole community. Yes, the great sages, devotees, everyone, they do their personal fire sacrifices. Generally, there are 3 Agnis are there, 3 fires are there. Usually Agni is used in plural because minimum there have to be 3 fires. in an L shape. One kunda, fire kunda, one sacrificial pit here, one sacrificial pit here, one sacrificial pit here. This is the L shape. So this is the basic arrangement, and there are many much more complicated arrangements of the sacrificial pits, and there are Vedic mantras they do chant and they worship the Supreme Lord. Here we can see Pururava, he worshipped the Lord, of course, with a material desire. So this is the system of fire sacrifice. Now, when the fire sacrifice are really big, as organized by the king himself or the important personalities, they are huge. They are not small. And that becomes the festival or event of the whole country. So it's a major event. Currently, if you go, we can talk about major event. People go for footy match, grand final, grand final. So it's a major event. How many people go? 100,000? Maybe 100,000 people go sit in MCG, right? MCG? I don't know, whatever. And people are all watching the footy, and everyone is thrilled, isn't it? Everyone is very excited to see the whole thing. The whole thing is going on. People are cheering, people are sitting, and they are ready to sacrifice anything to go for the grand final. In the same way, in Treta Yuga, the event of the country or the town was fire sacrifice. So the whole subjects would go to see the fire sacrifice. They will go, and then they see in the middle, big fire kundas are there, big sacrifices are going on. So one Brahmana, group of Brahmana, they are chanting the mantras, and others are offering the oblations. And there is Yajamana. Yajamana is the sponsor. So generally king or the important person, they become the Yajamana. They sit and they have to take a vow. They cannot move anywhere. They have to be there for the whole sacrifice. They sit, all of them are committed. Even if something happens to the family during this fire sacrifice, they cannot go. Generally, if someone dies in the family, you are contaminated, according to Vedic tradition. Then you cannot do fire sacrifice, you cannot go to the temple, etc. There are different rules are there. But if one has committed for the fire sacrifice, these rules don't apply. They have to be there, and they will be there. So nothing affects. They are completely focused on worshipping the Lord. And the whole arena is full of citizens. They are sitting there. We can hear this kind of pastimes everywhere. In Prithu Maharaja's case, we can see even Kamsa was conducting this Dhanur Yajna, right? And everyone in the whole society is there to watch what's going on. So this was their worship. In one sense, this was their excitement and entertainment. And then, to everyone's surprise, or for the pleasure of everyone, suddenly they see that the demigods are descending from the sky. They can see Indra is coming, Chandra is coming, Varuna is coming, Vayu is coming, depending on the oblations. Either Indra, if they offer into the fire, then they can see that the Indra is actually coming and accepting the oblations. So they can actually see that the demigods are coming, and naturally the denizens are excited, because this is something very wonderful. They can see the demigods from their own eyes, because they are much more elegant, much more beautiful, much more attractive than anyone on this planet Earth. So see, if Indra is coming, it's very attractive. We will look, who is this? He is so attractive. Similarly, all the demigods, similarly Apsaras, they are all very beautiful. Now, then what happens? If the sacrifices are even more potent and powerful, they could see that even Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva are appearing on the sacrificial arena and are accepting oblations. So we could see the Dakshayajna, third canto, right? Fourth canto, Dakshayajna. What happened in the Dakshayajna? They could see the demigods are coming, Lord Shiva is coming, Lord Brahma is there. So of course that happened in higher planets, but that used to happen even on the planet Earth. Such interplanetary travel was stopped in Kali Yuga because people are so impious. There are no oblations. There is nothing pure. Even air is not pure, water is not pure, food is not pure, fruits are not pure, grain is not pure, consciousness is not pure. So they have taken a break. We have nothing here. Even ghee, we need ghee. Ghee is also not pure. Right? Can we get pure ghee? Very difficult. Very difficult to get pure ghee. We can get ghee, but they will write pure ghee, but it's not pure. So this is a problem. So they are not interested to come. And then if the sacrifice is even higher, done by pure devotees, Vishnu himself as Yajnapati, as Yajneshwara, he would descend and all the citizens could personally see 400 Vishnu form. So this is the method of fire sacrifice where all the people during that time would get such a benefit, or they get such a faith seeing the Supreme Lord himself, isn't it? Still we doubt whether the Lord is there. We have 400 Vishnu, we can have some faith. But do we have 100% faith? There can be a question mark. But they could actually see the demigods. Whatever they have read in the Shastra, they could see the residents of the higher planets all the way up to Brahmaloka, and beyond the material world, the Supreme Lord himself descending and accepting the oblations. So this is the process of Vedic sacrifice, fire. Now, that doesn't exist as we know. Then Tretaya, Jajadomakaihi, Dwaparetu Parisevaya, deity worship, elaborate deity worship, Kalotat Harikirtana. Now, if we want to experience the Supreme Lord, the only way is through chanting of Hare Krishna Mantra. All other angas of devotional service, if we focus on the Panchanga Bhakti, the 5 limbs of devotional service, all for our supporting this one anga of chanting. Studying Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, worshipping the deity, associating with the devotees, residing in the holy dham, etc. Ultimately, everything has to culminate in chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Of course, they all support each other, but ultimately the process is chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So this is the important point, and if you see all different purports, not only in this canto, not only in this chapter, if you pick Bhagavad Gita, wherever yajna, sacrifice comes, Srila Prabhupada emphasizes Sankirtan yajna, because that is the only yajna that is going to work at this point of time, and it is it's a reality. See, if you do public deity worship, how many people will be attracted? Not many, right? And many people may even hate it. They may not even like it. And many people cannot even relate to the deities, isn't it? If you go to the public and do a deity worship, people cannot appreciate this. They think they are worshipping statue, idols. They cannot really worship, understand. Now, if we do other activities, we cannot have public Bhagavatam class or pastimes. It's a bit far out. People cannot really appreciate, unfortunately. Prabhupada also told first Bhagavad Gita, then Bhagavatam. For the new people, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam only for the devotees. Because people cannot appreciate it. So if you see all other items of devotional service, of course, devotee association is there. That's bringing everything else in one sense. Now, given that, if you do public Harinam, isn't it attractive? If you think about it, realistically, you don't need any qualification. And even devotees do not need so much of qualification. If you just go out and chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, generally, people in general become attracted. Chanting and dancing, and if you see happy faces of the devotees, then everyone is looking what's going on. Here is a bunch of happy people. Can you see? So realistically, we can see that Sankirtan Yajna is working. And in our personal life, we can see that chanting is working. We are here because we are chanting. If we lose our enthusiasm in devotional service, one of the reasons is slacking in our chanting. Because that is a yuga dharma, and if that's not working, we will feel it. Especially one devotee was speaking to me many years back. He was really going through difficult time. And he was telling, when I was it went on for me for a couple of years, really, mentally agitated, a lot of difficulties. So after that he told me, during this period, he said I was chanting, he was telling, now I am listening, I can hear what I am chanting. But last 2 years, my chanting was so bad. I didn't even hear what I was chanting. I was just doing it, but it was very ineffective in that sense. So we can see that there is such a parallel when we really go through, maybe we will go through difficult times, we may be going through difficult times, it's okay. But if we take shelter of the holy name, there is such a solace, isn't it? It's a different world if we enter into the world of the holy name, Sankirtan Yajna, and that is recommended for this age. That's the reason Srila Prabhupada emphasized this so much. I heard this past time. One devotee wrote to Srila Prabhupada, I have read in your books, first we need to come to the stage of Brahman realization, that is the stage 1. Then there is Paramatma realization, and then finally Bhagavan realization. So this devotee wrote and asked Prabhupada, so shall I first try for the Brahman realization, and then Paramatma, and then Bhagavan? So this is the actual, from your book I can understand this is the way to go. So what shall I do for Brahman realization? That is the kind of question he was asking Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada's response was only one question: are you chanting your rounds? And the answer was no. So if you don't chant our rounds, then we think, first we have to get to Brahman realization, we will do Paramatma, all different kinds of thoughts come. Come to the basic thing, come to the basics, very simple. Just chant your rounds. And we'll be surprised that if we chant sincerely, seriously, with proper attentiveness, understanding and respect for the holy name, how the holy name works. It's a very wonderful experience. We all have that experience, at least for some time. May not be all the time, but sometime we have the experience that how chanting is so wonderful. So, we need to take shelter of the holy name through different ways. One, we need to understand who Krishna is. We need to understand what is the significance and glories of the holy names. So this is Sambandha, connection to the holy name. In this way we can slowly and of course arranging our time so that we can chant attentively in the morning. Most of the rounds. And if there are services difficulties in the morning, some other time. But fixing some time for chanting. This is the beginning of chanting. This is the beginning of chanting. I heard from my spiritual master one time that tomorrow's chanting starts today. Because if you don't know when you're going to chant tomorrow, I will chant sometime, that chanting is not going to work so effectively. You need to know, morning I have service, so I can chant 5 rounds now. Later I will chant, after breakfast I can chant another 5 rounds. Maybe later I will chant the rest. There has to be some plan. This is the beginning. And now, we are in a very special time. What is a special time? What is special now? Very special now means now. Bhadrapurnima, yes, that is the good that you reminded me. Thank you. But before Bhadrapurnima, exactly, Radhashtami. So this is a great opportunity for us to prepare ourselves for Radhashtami. I didn't really prepare for Radhashtami. I was not intently preparing for Radhashtami. I was thinking, but I was not really intently preparing or reading anything for Radhashtami. But something happened interestingly. From last week, I started thinking about some beautiful verses written by Jiva Goswami explaining the meaning of Mahamantra. So then I started thinking about those verses because I used to read that before, a few years back, and then I started reading and thinking about them. Then I thought, okay, this is the mercy of Radharani. Radharani is helping me to prepare for the Radhashtami because the verses are very beautiful and These verses are meaning of Mahamantra in the sense it's more of a meditation. It's not for most of us cannot really meditate while we are chanting, and we are not meant to do that. Artificially, if naturally comes, it's good. So the first verse is Sarvacheto Hare Krishna Tasya Chittam Haratyaso Vaidhi Saravistare Ato Radha Haramata. Sarvacheto Hare Krishna. What's the meaning? Krishna steals, attracts everyone's heart. Tasya Chittam Haratyaso. Who captivates his heart? Srimati Radharani. So Krishna attracts everyone. Krishna is all attractive. That's Krishna. Sarvacheto Hare Krishna. Tasya Chittam Haratyaso. She steals the heart of Krishna. Tasya Chittam Haratyaso. How? Vaidhi Saravistare. Vaidhi Saravistare. By her cleverness. Ato Radha Hara Mata. Therefore, Srimati Radharani is known as Hara. Of course, we chant Hare, addressing her. So I was thinking about this verse. It's very nice. So we can think about Srimati Radharani. We can know about her qualities while chanting in a natural way. The way of meditation is you study, you read, you meditate on the verse. Other time, not during the chanting time, other times. So when the consciousness is absorbed, or at least consciousness is touched by such topics, then while chanting, naturally that will nourish our chanting. If naturally this kind of thought comes, then really help our chanting. It will give a nice taste to our chanting. But we don't do artificially. Now what I am going to think about Krishna, then we cannot hear the holy name. So there was a very nice verse explaining the meaning of Hara as one who steals the heart of Krishna himself. Then how about Krishna? Kashati Sriya Lavanya Murali Kalanisvanaihi. Kashati Sriya Lavanya Murali Kalanisvanaihi. Krishna also attracts all the living entities and the residents of Vrindavan, the gopis, and especially Srimati Radharani. How? Kashati Sriya Lavanya Murali Kala Nisvanaihi. By the sweet melodious sound of the flute. Mohana Gunalamkita Krishna Ishyate. Mohan, and also by his most wonderful qualities. So this is going back and forth, right? Radharani is attracting Krishna and Krishna is attracting Srimati Radharani. So in this way, the explanation will go further, but I am not explaining everything, but I was thinking about 5, 6 or 7, 8 verses from this song, and it was very wonderful to see or to deeply think about the possibilities of chanting of Hare Krishna Mantra, because every word has infinite meaning, infinite pastimes, everything is included in this, and Jiva Goswami is most wonderfully presenting how we can actually think about Hare and Krishna and Rama, all these 3 words in different ways. So there are so much of nectar in each word, and we need to relish this nectar first outside of chanting time. We need to relish Krishna's name, qualities, pastime, etc. outside of the chanting time, and they will support our chanting time. One time, one devotee asked His Holiness Shivaram Swami Maharaj about how can I improve my chanting 2 hours. 2 hours of chanting we put, and how can I improve? Maharaj mentioned an interesting point that your 2 hours of chanting depends on your 22 hours. We have 24 hours, 22 hours. So our 2 hours of chanting is dependent on the rest 22 hours. So I was thinking about it. Yes, it does make sense, isn't it? The 2 hours is the most important activity, and to do this important activity, we need some preparation. Different kinds of preparation, of course. But part of the preparation is absorption in Krishna, one way or the other. It can be, of course, worshipping the deity, seeing the beautiful form of the Lord, studying Bhagavatam. Wherever we get some shelter, that shelter is mandatory if you want to get some shelter in the holy name. So in our progressive journey of Krishna consciousness, we can never think that without attentive chanting, without absorbed chanting, we can progress and we can perfect. Sometimes we think, I'm doing services nicely, I'm doing a few other things nicely, but nothing will culminate to perfection unless and until we perfect chanting. Of course, they go hand in hand, but improved chanting is mandatory. Because of that, we need to take this process very seriously. As I explained earlier, in the Treta Yuga, the whole community, whole society is so focused on performing 5 sacrifices. And here we can see Pururava treated the fire as his own son, looked after the fire, did the Vedic ritualistic activities so perfectly. So he obtained the result. What is the result as it's mentioned? Gandharvam Lokam Gandharvam Evan. Lokam Gandharvam Evan. So Gandharvam Lokam Evan. He attained, he achieved Gandharvam Lokam, Gandharva Loka. He wanted to go to Gandharva Loka. Whereas for us, there is a very clear objective. Srila Prabhupada says, go back home, back to Godhead. And so, for us, the sacrifice is already given. Yajne Sankirtanam Praye, Yajantihi Sumedasa. So already the process is given. Lord Chaitanya has given that process. And if you want to know about Radharani, we need to go through Lord Chaitanya. We have to read the 4th chapter of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Such an amazing chapter. If you want to know who is Radharani, what is her nature, in terms of tattva, in terms of rasa, what is her mood, how she is dedicated in service to Krishna, etc. All mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita, because Radha Bhava Dviti Suveditam Nomi Krishna Swarupam. Radha Bhava Dviti. Dviti means effulgence. What kind of effulgence? Radha Bhava Dviti. The effulgence of the mood of Srimati Radharani. Suveditam, covered by that effulgence, or in other words, covered by that external skin, you can say. Lord Chaitanya has appeared. Krishna Varnam Tusha, Akrishna is Tusha, his skin is Akrishna, not black, it is golden. Tapta Kanjana Gaurangi. So, if we ever think that we can understand about Srimati Radharani, about Radha and Krishna, indeed, by skipping Lord Chaitanya, it's a great mistake. It's a great mistake. And it is coming more and more in our community as well as other ISKCON communities. Because there are different Babas who are explaining Radha Krishna pastimes, giving extra focus on Srimati Radharani, but not through Lord Chaitanya's teachings. And our ISKCON devotees are also being swayed by such lectures. So, if we hear something which is interesting, something which is captivating, don't think that it is bona fide. It may be bona fide, it may not be bona fide. As followers of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, followers of six Goswamis, followers of Bhaktivedanta Maharaj, followers of Srila Prabhupada and his disciples, we need to be chaste to the parampara. It is very important. We need to be chaste to the parampara. No, don't go to Facebook, to Insta, to here, there, and start listening this and that. We need to understand this is the Gaudiya teaching which is coming. This is the Gaudiya teaching which is coming. It is very important. And among devotees, it's a great problem. I was speaking to one devotee and he was telling, even some initiated devotees are hearing non-Gaudiya teachings about Radha and Krishna. Non-Gaudiya, it has become such a popular thing, unfortunately. And we have to be very careful. And people are feeling such connection to non-Gaudiya teachings. The reason is they are not studying Srila Prabhupada's books. If you want to know about Śrīmad Radharani, if you want to know the mood of Śrīmad Radharani, study Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita. Chaitanya Charitamrita is an explanation primarily of the 10 cantos of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. All the tattvas are covered, and the specific focus is the 10 canto. That too, Vrindavan, there is a specific focus for that. And we have to gradually come to that stage. Devotees come and why do I have to study Bhagavad Gita? There is not enough rasa in Bhagavad Gita. We need to hear Radha Krishna pastime. So this is a mistake, this is a misunderstanding. I am speaking because it is going on even in our community, unfortunately. So I have to speak. And because one devotee called me and told, initiated devotee, and why such a devotee is hearing, I heard whoever I am taking shiksha from in Bhaktivedanta and other places, they are also listening. They are also listening because these are all 5 minutes, 10 minutes clips and so easy. Anyway, nothing is very attractive, so I am listening. The leaders are listening and discussing, and so that's what I saw. I am also listening. It is wonderful. So what is missing? Missing is study of Srila Prabhupada's books, unfortunately. So don't take it lightly. Srila Prabhupada's books. It has everything. Even Bhagavad Gita, everything is there. Only thing is we don't have eyes to see, that's all. We don't have the right consciousness to see. And take Bhagavatam, everything is there. If one is qualified, one can study all Srila Prabhupada's books, one can study all Prabhupada's purports. And if you want to know more, we have, starting from the commentary of Vishwanath Chakravarti, read the commentaries of Acharyas if you want to go further. And if you want to really understand about this mood, one can study after studying all Srila Prabhupada's books thoroughly, one can read Brihad Bhagavatamrita. Among the Goswami books, that's the basis. Read the whole Brihad Bhagavatam, so wonderfully presented in 3 big volumes. And if you start reading, you feel so amazing. Now you say, no, I haven't studied Prabhupada's books, but I want to read Brihad Bhagavatam. No. Study all Prabhupada's books and read Brihad Bhagavatam. Because Brihad Bhagavatam very clearly explains the hierarchy of rasa all the way up till Goloka. So it's amazing. Then if you want to know more about the avatars, we can read Lakhu Bhagavatamrita. If you want to know Tattva more, read Tattva Sandarbha. PPT has published everything. And if you want to know a bit more on pastimes of the Lord, one can read Krishna Leela Stava by Sanatana Goswami. It will be published by PPT. So we have sufficient literature from Srila Prabhupada and other Goswamis available. So we need to take shelter of those books. And then if you want to listen from ISKCON devotees. This is our parampara. And if somebody is not feeling satisfied, then contact one of us. Okay, if you have studied everything, still no satisfaction, then approach somebody who is senior and take shiksha. What's going wrong? Is study only happening, no chanting happening? What's going wrong in life? We have to check. So we have everything. So in conclusion, we discussed about the sacrifice for the age of Treta and the sacrifice for the age of Kali for us. And then a little bit about
going towards Radhashtami in a couple of days in the spirit of chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra with attention and absorption. And finally we talked about how all understanding is given in Srila Prabhupada books, and devotees need to take shiksha from these books, and then we can find that our consciousness is naturally elevating. Otherwise, if we simply look for some rasa pastimes here and there, the problem is the intelligence is not trained to stop sense gratification. Because one time one may get attracted to some rasa pastimes, but other time our mind will go to sense gratification. So if you don't have proper instructions and tattva clear in our mind, if you don't practice it properly, it is very difficult to control that aspect. Because we are not advanced. If we get into the rasa pastime, we can be absorbed in the rasa pastime all the time without any deviation. It's not going to happen. That is not qualified. So one has to actually see how far one can go, even when it comes to pastimes of Radharani or Krishna or Bhagavatam. So Acharyas uses the word vikara, means transformation. If you read any pastime of Krishna or Radharani or anything, if you start feeling mundane feelings start coming, if the doubts or mundane feelings start coming to our consciousness, maybe lust or the beginning of that, immediately one should stop reading. One should understand, even if it is 10 canto of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, even if it's for books, one should stop reading that part, move forward. So here, first time when devotees went through Bhagavatam, they didn't go through the 10 canto. They stopped pretty much before 10 canto, and then again went back, again came back. And maybe 15 years back or so, I remember entering the 10th canto for the first time here. Now we are going to enter the 10th canto for the second time here in this temple soon, because there are only few chapters and there are no big purports. So this year, hopefully, we will enter into the 10th canto here, so we can study again 10th canto collectively as a temple. So it's a great opportunity for us. So this is parampara here, and then we see that okay, we make progress in Krishna consciousness. Thank you, Hare Krishna. Any questions, any comments? Yeah.
Hare Krishna. In the previous yoga time periods, where there was a prescribed method of worship, meditation, yoga, deity worship, there was still Harinam Sankirtan during those yoga cycles as well.
Yes.
Does it mean that Harinam Sankirtan wasn't as potent during those yoga cycles, and that because meditation or yoga was the more potent worship before the Lord?
Harinam Sankirtan is even in the previous yugas, while other yuga dharmas were present, such as fire sacrifice. Still, we know that Harinam Sankirtan was there. So this Harinam Sankirtan, was it as potent as now? Even during that time? The answer is yes, Harinam Sankirtan was important all the time. However, people had different inclination and different capacities. They could meditate on the Supreme Lord sitting at one place for 10,000 years without any deviation, without external consciousness. We have many examples. So since they had that capacity, they didn't just think that okay, just chanting is enough. In one sense, they were overlooking the Harinam Sankirtan, and they were focusing on the Yuga Dharma. The reason being, there are different inclinations for the people also. So can you see here, Pururava, he didn't do anything specifically. For Pururava, all of a sudden, the thoughts about conducting sacrifice was coming to his mind. Can you see? It is coming to his mind. And he inaugurated the process. Similarly, as the age progresses, for the pious souls, different processes are revealed. So naturally, they had an inclination for conducting such processes, and they did it well. So at the same time, we know that the Harinam Sankirtan was there all the time. We can see the example of Narada Muni. You won't find example of Narada Muni. He went through different ages. He wasn't conducting any fire sacrifice. He wasn't worshipping the deity, nothing. or neither was he meditating. He was simply chanting the holy names. So yes, it does work, and we have examples. But for people in general, because of certain inclination and also they have the capacity for doing other processes, they do it naturally. But still they get the same result. So that's the reason when this verse, Kritoyam Dhyayate Vishnu Tretaya Yajlo Makhegi Dwakaretu Parisevaya Kalota Harikirtana. The actual, if you see the translation, whatever results devotees achieve through other processes in other yugas, we can obtain the same result by chanting Hare Krishna mantra. So that's the point. Even though it looks very simple. Okay, thank you. Any question? Okay. Thank you. Then Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.